Hi everyone! So, welcome back for chapter 9 of WYSIWYG. And this chapter is called Splitter Changes. Do you remember the last chapter was about a bully in the class called Splitter Lawson? And he was being very mean to the others and he's really hurt WYSIWYG. We don't know if she's going to be okay yet. So, let's find out what happens. There was an uncomfortable silence in the classroom when Splitter left. Slowly, everyone began to wander out. No one was looking forward to getting to the playground. Splitter would be even worse than normal now. Ben dropped to his knees. WYSIWYG! WYSIWYG, are you all right? Speak to me, Ben pleaded. Ben, what is it? What is that thing? Asked Stephen from behind him. WYSIWYG, please speak to me, Ben said urgently. What on earth? You mean that thing is alive? Stephen asked, his eyes bigger than saucers. Ben took a quick look around the room. The few people left in the class were on their way out and not taking any notice of Ben or Stephen. Her name is WYSIWYG and she's from the planet Oricon, Ben explained. An alien? Stephen breathed excitedly. Does she have acid for blood and will she take over your body? If you can't talk sense, bog off, Ben snapped. Sorry, Stephen said. I got a bit carried away. Wait a minute. Is she the reason you had all those bikes in your front garden yesterday? Ben nodded. I knew it, said Stephen. Ben turned back to WYSIWYG. Slowly her eyes fluttered open. Ben sat back on his heels and, picking up WYSIWYG, hugged her tight. Oh, WYSIWYG, I thought... Ben couldn't say what he thought. Are you all right? I think so, Ben whispered. She moved out of Ben's grasp and hovered upwards until she was level with Ben's face. What happened? WYSIWYG asked. All I remember is flying through the air without my spaceship. That idiot Splitter thought you were a football and kicked you, Ben informed her angrily. Splitter? WYSIWYG's eyes opened wide. We had better find him before anyone else does. Why? What's the problem? Asked Stephen. WYSIWYG turned to look at Ben's best friend. You are the one who wished that the teachers could see Splitter for what he really is, and all your friends wished the same by putting their hands up. So? Stephen still didn't get it. Ben got to his feet. WYSIWYG is an accidental wish giver, Ben explained. She grants wishes. Oh. I wish I had a CD video game player then, Stephen said immediately. It doesn't work like that, Ben said impatiently. Quick, we have to find Splitter, said WYSIWYG. Why the rush? Asked Stephen. Did you grant Stephen's wish then? Ben asked. 16 of you made the same wish, so it is bound to have worked. But I must confess that I am not 100% sure. WYSIWYG frowned. That moronic lout Splitter should thank his lucky stars that he kicked me when he did, or he would have changed right here in the classroom. Even now I cannot be sure he has changed. I had to employ all my secondary energy to heal myself, leaving only my tertiary energy supply available to change him. I am not sure it was enough. Stephen and Ben looked at each other. Do you know what she's talking about? Asked Stephen. No, Ben admitted. That does not matter. Where is Splitter now? Asked WYSIWYG. Out in the playground, pushing everyone over, I expect, Ben predicted glumly. Then let us proceed. WYSIWYG bounced across the classroom and tucked herself down into Ben's bag. Once they'd reached the playground, Ben and Stephen saw a strange thing. No one was crying. There was no bruised and bleeding knees being rubbed. Nothing. Charlotte, have you seen Splitter? Ben asked. What do you want him for? Charlotte raised her eyebrows. I'd have thought you want to avoid him. Charlotte. Oh, all right. He ducked behind the loos about 5 minutes ago. Just waiting for the right moment to crash into as many people as possible, I suppose, Charlotte said with disgust. What a dork. Ben and Stephen didn't wait to hear any more. They ran full pelt to the sloping alcove which housed the playground loos. These loos were avoided by everyone who didn't have a bad cold, as they were so smelly. And then they saw it. Splitter wasn't there, but a donkey was. Where on earth did that donkey come from? Stephen asked, amazed. Wysiwyg popped her head out of Ben's bag. It is not a donkey. It is Splitter, she said. A jackass he is, a jackass I have changed him into, and a jackass he will remain. Ben stared at the jackass, which is another name for a donkey, its long floppy ears, its dopey expression, and burst out laughing. Stephen joined in. He couldn't help it. That look suits him, grinned Ben. It sure does, Stephen agreed. Now all the teachers will see Splitter for what he really is. Ben's grin faded. Hang on a minute. What are we going to do with him until tomorrow morning? We can't let anyone see him like this. But already someone else was wandering around the corner towards the loos. Hello, Stephen. Ben. I thought I saw... Christopher's voice trailed off altogether. He stared and stared at the creature before him. Did one of you bring a donkey to school? Christopher asked, intense admiration on his face. Of course not, frowned Ben, and it's a jackass, not a donkey. His name is Splitter, smiled Stephen. Christopher burst out laughing. You better not let the real Splitter hear you say that, he warned. Ee-aw, the jackass brayed. He already knows, Ben couldn't resist saying, and he and Stephen both creased up laughing. The sound soon had more and more people coming to investigate. Anyone want a ride on Splitter? Stephen called out. Ben was sorely tempted, but in the end he shook his head. No, Stephen, it wouldn't be right. Ee-aw, brayed the Splitter the jackass in agreement. Shush you, said Stephen, enjoying himself. He turned to Ben. Yes, it would be right. He deserves it. Ben was just about to argue when a voice boomed across the playground. What on earth is that donkey doing here? Who brought that donkey to school? And at the sound of Mr. Archer approaching, everyone froze. Next chapter is called Call Out the RSPCA. See you next time. Bye.